Great skills again by him. Oh, marvellous goal by Laudrup.
Welcome to the Rangers Journal.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Rangers Journal following Rangers' 2-1 defeat to Hearts and what was a game where I don't think we really learned anything new about this current team, but that all the frailties and issues were pretty much exposed. We said before on the pre-match that this would be a game for a team to lay down a marker, and that's exactly what happened. But unfortunately, it was Hearts that did it. Welcoming again from the pre-match as well, Cammy, to go over the game with me. How are you feeling after that one?
Just pretty scunnered, to be honest. We've seen this movie so many times with regard to, it isn't just about individuals or just Rangers over the last few years. This is just symptomatic of the way that we play. I take no pleasure in saying pre-match that we had to not make silly mistakes, and that's ultimately been our downfall. And at the end of the day, to come away only 2-1, if you're only looking at the scoreline and you're not looking at the chances that Hearts had to score 3, 4, 5 in that second half, I think we've got away with one, to be perfectly honest with you. But the opening 20-25 minutes, it's a long, long way from any sort of acceptable Rangers performance.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go through the game and sort of talk through the main talking points. Just before we start there, though, we've got a £1 donation there in from Rangers 304. So big thanks for that, mate. Every little helps going towards the funds. If you've any questions or anything you want to fire anything at me and Cammy, then do put it in the comments. We'll bring things up as we're going through. Obviously, we started the game. In fact, I'll just bring it up again. The lineup, which we touched on at the in the pre-match. We started off obviously with Butland, a back five of Allen, Tavernier, Sterling, Fernandez, and Magoma. Midfield three of Barron, Raskin, and Diomande, and then Moore up top supporting Miovski, or sort of in behind Miovski. And that was how the team sort of lined up for that beginning of the half. And kind of as you touched on there, Cammy, we were okay for the first maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. Hearts did come out as I predicted. They were well up for the game. They were hunting in packs, which was something they did absolutely throughout the game to great effect. Have to give them credit for that. Anytime one of our players got the ball, there immediately seemed to be about 3 or 4 Hearts players all around them, shutting them down. But as I say, for that first 15-20 minutes or so, half an hour, it was a sort of back and forth game. There were chances on either side. And obviously within the first 10 minutes, we actually had the ball in the net, corner in from Tavernier. Again, Fernandez showing what he can do in the box with a great header, which was going to go just wide, but Miovski nips in at the back post to put it in, but was unfortunately a shoulder blade offside as per the lines. And as I say, at that point, I was kind of feeling okay about how things were going.
Likewise, we came out well. We were keeping possession well. We weren't making silly mistakes. We weren't particularly inventive in possession. I don't think anybody was particularly creative, and particularly in that early stages. To have whips in a great corner, and at the time I was being critical of Miovski for tapping it in, because my initial reaction was that the header was going in. I think maybe being critical, should Fernandez score with the header? But I'm just being picky there. It's one of those. I think it's always important that we score the first goal in any game. I just don't think we've got enough creativity. We've not got enough goals in the side. So I think it was important for us to get ahead in the game today. And once we got past that first 20-25 minutes, that was it. Hearts came into the game, and then we'll obviously talk about what happened for both the goals. But we'd started the game as well as I could have hoped for, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, we go on to get another chance. To see that Miovski chopped off goal was around about the 10-minute mark, and we continue to create the occasional chance. And then just around about the 20-minute mark, there's a Raskin header, this time from a Tavernier free kick, which, Raskin really should be scoring with this one. He's sort of penalty spot area, ball comes to him. It's maybe just a little touch too high. He puts it over the bar, but yeah, as I say, I think that was one that he really should have put into the back of the net.
I think a guy like Nico, he has scored goals for corners previously. I think it's you're expecting him to certainly trouble the goalkeeper, to be honest. But after that, it was. I think they said in commentary, however many minutes, I can't recall what they said after the 25th minute, until we had a shot. It's just not good enough. It's I can't actually. I'm trying to appear coherent, to be honest, but it's just huge frustration that where we are, 21st of December, 3-4 years of horrendous recruitment. This isn't just Kevin Thelwell recruitment. This is guys that have been signed prior to that. That individually and collectively passengers. I said before the game that we needed 7, 8, 9 players, 7 out of 10. It was the other way. We had 7, 8, 9 players, 3 out of 10, and that's no good enough for. You can talk about quality to the cows come home, but you're no winning your battles. Again, I spoke about it in the pre-match. Hearts showed, particularly when they went 1 and 2 goals ahead, they wanted it more. They had the desire on the ball. They had the desire off the ball. And that's the unacceptable part of it for me. The least Rangers on Monday night were poor from a quality point of view, but the effort was there and they were fighting for each other. There was an acceptance of that today, which is for me is totally unacceptable, and I'm sure it'll be unacceptable to the manager. We deserve better than what we've been fared up, not just today, but this season. It's just no good enough. And the January window, we're all pinning Harry Potter hopes that we're going to pull rabbits out of hats in January, but this isn't going to be a one window fix. And I think I'm just trying to look at the comments here. The marking at the Hearts' first goal. I mean, you're obviously going to go into the goals, but it's just no good enough, Doug.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, after that sort of 20-minute mark where so that Raskin header, Moore had a chance saved. And then after that, as we got into the sort of half-hour point and into this obviously the points where they get their goals, Hearts just start to come into the game more and more. They were dominating possession. As I say, anytime we got the ball, they were swarming us really well. Like you said, they were just really up for the game and showed a lot more passion than the only player really that I thought stood up to that was Connor Barron, who I think did put in his usual kind of performance. He wasn't the greatest once he got the ball, but he was winning the ball a lot. There was a point in the second half that they were talking about their I forget the boy's name now, but their midfielder that had the bloody nose for the entire game for Hearts. They were bringing up the stats about him winning the ball, and they had the top 4 in the match, and it was 3 Hearts players and Connor Barron. I thought he was the only one that kind of showed the same kind of energy in our team.
See, to be honest with you, and again, he substituted. I thought it wasn't a high bar, the quality in the middle of the park. But no. Connor Barron's the only one that puts a shift in, and I'll agree with what William's saying there. Connor Barron in the middle of the park, surrounded by better players, would be doing a job with regard to the effort and pressing and tackling and all that sort of stuff. But he's not a playmaker. None of the 3 in the middle of the park kicked a ball, Raskin. Connor Barron gave us effort. I don't think the other, and I think Connor Barron was harsh and that he was the one that was being substituted, I would have taken Raskin off. Again, I just think the game passed him by, and it's another game that his reputation as a Rangers player has been built on 6 good months last season. I think he knows that he's leaving, and his performance wasn't good enough. But Connor Barron, very, very low bar. But he at least embodies what you would expect in going out and try to tackle and try to press and try to harry, and basics that every single player should be doing, whether you're a Steve Davis silky player spraying the ball about. You have to be putting the effort in, and as I say, winning your battles. We've got too many wee guys and too many soft players that just want to play. It's like 5-a-side players, Asgard comes on and what have you. And I really don't want to get into slating just individuals, because it was abysmal collectively. And that's, to pick a man of the match, you should be, to come away with 3 points today, Doug, we should be saying, Diomande was excellent, and Gassama was excellent, and Raskin was excellent. And you're trying to pick, as the Hearts fans will be doing just now, they're sitting in the boozer after the game talking about how Shanklin worked his socks off, and the boy in the middle of the park was this, that, and the next thing. That's how you win matches. If big matches, you need big performances, and we didn't have big performances. None of our players, whether they've been there for 10 years, whether they've been here for 5 years, whether they've been there for 5 months, none of them showed the minimum effort, apart from Barron. Sterling tries his best, he's just back, but we're just so far off it, and Danny Rowell's got a job on, and this next couple of weeks is massive. It doesn't get any easier after today, and that's why I thought it was important that we got something from the game, but we didn't.
That's it. And I've seen a few people commenting on Barron. We should point out, when we're saying Barron was better, he gave the bare minimum of what everyone should have given. So we're not saying that, as Cammy said, we're not putting a high bar in here. Barron showed the bare minimum of what they all should have been doing, and stood out because of that. As I say, getting on to the last part of the half, obviously Hearts get 2 quick goals in quick succession. That's something that has been a failing of Rangers over the last couple of years as well, losing quick goals. The first one coming from a corner, just really, really poor. We've only got the one player out. They do a short corner. I think it's Magoma that's out there with them, but the ball goes to one player. Magoma follows him. He just pops it back to the original corner taker, which I think was Braga, and he swings in a lovely cross, which settles just right into the kind of penalty spot area, and Finlay is there to win the header, and that's 1-0. Have to give it to Hearts. It's a nice little move, but just really, really simple stuff. As I say, someone should have been alert to that danger and been out to Braga much quicker. I don't think anyone got out to him at all, actually. And then you'd be hoping to see one of the centre backs, obviously, winning that header. But as I say, goes to Finlay, and he's got an easy header to put them 1-0 up.
It's going on about where's the set piece coach. That I'm not a huge lover of these people being given titles with regard to do this, do that. See, as a player, I was never good enough to play as a professional footballer. That's basic stuff, to get out quicker and stop the cross. I think to go by the set piece coach, I think's made us look better in the other box, but we're making the same mistakes with regard to simple stuff, and that's a goal that we have essentially gave away because we've allowed the cross to come in, and then it's a fantastic header, but we contribute to it by, it starts with Jack Butland he plays a long ball. Then I think it's Nico then puts the ball out for a corner. They then play the corner shot. So it's again another Rangers goal that it's not just one mistake. it's a catalogue of errors that end up in the opposition scoring. And then at that point, Doug, I'm like, right, just try and get to half time, try and regroup. We had started the game pretty well in the first 15, 20 minutes. But then, obviously, we lose a second goal smart after that. And that's just... I just can't believe... I just don't know what Jack Butland... No goalkeeper at any level should lose a goal at their near post. That's bread and butter stuff. And that's the Jack Butland that we saw at the back end of last season that we haven't seen this season. So he'll know himself that it's not good enough. But we gave ourselves a mountain to climb after they scored their 2 goals before half-time.
That's it. Obviously the goal there from Shankland. Again, a nice bit of play from Hearts. We can only give it up to them for that. But per defending, the ball comes in to again, I think Braga, who just nods it over to Shankland, who is running away from goal out wide. Looks like he's going to have a too small of an angle, but then he drills it in to the near post, beating Butland, who rather than what you would normally expect was we'd put his foot out to block it because it goes in between his foot and the post. He tries to drop onto his knee, and the ball goes through him. Like I say, goalies shouldn't be getting beat from there. The only tiny thing I'll give him is that Shankland does hit it pretty much perfectly. That little spot right there is pretty much the only place he could have scored from there. But like I say, Butland has to be doing better there, and he lets it go to 2-0. So that was at 41 minutes. The game ends shortly after. We're at half-time. I'm just sitting there thinking, overall, I thought some of the play, as I say, in the first half had been okay. It had been a quick fire double, so I had kind of hoped, well, maybe we can get back into this if we can make some changes. And obviously, if the team can lift themselves, because we were really lacking up top. There are various points, and this is true for much of the second half as well. I forgot Miovski was on the pitch. Just he was so anonymous. Moore didn't really get into the game much after that first sort of half hour either. We did make changes at halftime, or a change at halftime. So Diamondi went off. Again, he had another game. He was kind of in and out. Again, he seemed to be getting into some little niggly fouls and things as well. And I did see in the group chat a couple of folk were starting to worry he was going to end up on track for another possible send it off. So I don't know if any of that played into it, but probably just looking to get more up front because he brought on Chermiti. We changed formation, so we went to a back 4 from the second half with Aaron and Magoma going into their sort of normal fullback positions. The centre backs there, and then slightly more unusually, although not. It has happened previously. We did it in the Celtic game. We moved Tab into midfield, and then had the 2 up top. First and foremost, what did you make of the change? Did you think it was a positive change, or?
To be honest, I'd have brought Gassama on. That would have been the change I would have, because I don't think we showed enough in the wide areas. But you've got 2 forwards on the park. It's still hopeful football. You're just throwing crosses in, and there wasn't any purpose. There wasn't any cohesion to the way that you were trying to play. There was nothing in the middle of the park. I can see there's a comment there about questioning the manager and his formation. And the one thing that you can't criticise Danny Rule for is his ability to. He's trying to change things. He isn't. This is the only way I'm going to play. Whether it's working or not is another matter. But he's like throwing the proverbial at the wall, trying to get something that's actually going to gel. That's essentially where he's at this moment in time. He's working with a limited group of players. He's managed to get some results. Performances haven't been brilliant. I don't know. What I would say to Gordon is, what formation would you play then that's going to get the best out of? I don't know we're not going to go 4-4-2. I'm not a huge lover of three at the back. I just think you lose something in the middle of the park, and that's we need better players. We've needed better players for the last 4 years. You know,
is there the best to get out of them? I think is the real question.
And that's I don't know. You've got guys that are part of the much fabled leadership group. You've got guys that are just in the door. They're not doing enough. Raskin, game passed them by. Butland made big mistakes. Tav is not James Tavernier of 2019, 2020, up to the run to Seville. That's fine. But we just don't have enough good players. We don't have enough players with balls. We don't have enough players that work hard enough. We've been running that series about the perfect Ranger, and I said that to Jock yesterday when I was talking to him. These are proper men. And I said earlier on about wee guys. This is characters. This is players that they know what being a winner is about. And they know what the basics of football are, and hard work and effort and fighting for your mate, winning your individual battles. Too many of our players talk a good game. I talk often about actions speak louder than words. And there's nothing truer. I don't have really any time for anything that any Rangers manager, any Rangers player, any Rangers employee says. It's what we do when we cross that white line. Because what we do when we cross that white line is what should be instilled in the training ground Monday to Friday. And for too long, it's not there. There's for whatever reason, we go in the park and we just half-arse it.
Yep, and into that second half, there's not a huge amount to go over. Really, we dominated the ball for a lot of it, but just didn't really do much with it. It was a real sort of example of just a lack of quality in the team, inability to thread passes, or even to. I don't think I even saw players even with the vision for a pass. Like, there's very few attempts at a good pass. Ironically enough, given how anonymous he often is, the only one I remember really in the second half was from Asgard, where he tried a really nice cut-through pass that got blocked. But we see so little of that type of thing. I think it's it's been the only thing that Tavernier was offering in the game. So again, he wasn't at his best, but he did have a couple of decent passes and crosses in that first half. There was a Barron shot about 58 minutes that he dragged wide. We got very lucky on the hour mark. Shankland missed as an absolute sitter. He's almost got an open goal as the ball's coming to him, but he drags it wide. Just after that, we then subbed Tavernier off and put on Gassama. Butland then has a couple of decent saves, another one from Shankland and one from a header off of a corner. 73 minutes, we then make a couple more subs. Barron goes off for Asgard. Miovski comes off for Danilo. And then at 80 minutes, we took off Sterling for Enciala, which again, we sort of predicted that in the pre-match that Sterling would probably come off at some point for Enciala. But as I say, that's pretty much all the notes I took. It's just this guy off, this guy on, because we would pass the ball about to very little effect.
It was just I said to somebody on Twitter during the second half, it was just hopeful football. There was no purpose to it. You're hoping that you're going to throw a corner in, you're going to throw a cross in, you're going to win the ball, it's going to break. And we managed to get a goal right at the death there, but I thought we could have played to Tuesday. I'm just laughing at how many comments Connor Barron's actually got. And to be honest with you, that's for another day. But it was just a huffing and puffing. The start, I think it showed the last 15 minutes that we'd had 85% possession, but we had done nothing at all with it. Hearts they're quite content. See, if the game's 1-0 and we're pushing them back, then it's different. They're 2 goals ahead. They're quite happy to sit in low, play on the counter attack, Shankland should be walking away with the match ball.
Yep.
That's
could have had a few more.
that's the. I don't think he had a fantastic game, but he works his socks off for a guy that I still question his mobility and what have you. But he's a very clever striker that, as I say, should be walking away with the match ball. But Hearts look a well coached side. That's it'd be good to see one of them, to be honest, one of these times. But they all know their jobs. Derek McInnes has been in there 10 minutes. They've recruited really, really well. They've got guys that they've brought. Finlay, I mean, where was he? Kilmarnock.
I think so. Yeah.
He just has players that he wants. He knows how he wants his team to play, and they play with a purpose. And the only thing that stops Hearts winning the league this season is if they get jitters as it gets close to the final quarter of the season, because they all know Hearts are the polar opposite of us with regard to recruitment. What they have recruited in the last 6 months compared to what we've recruited in the last 6 months and beyond. And I say this is not just on Kevin Thelwell and Russell Martin. This is a cultural problem. This is a systematic problem where our recruitment has been abysmal, and that applies not just to the players on the park that have been signed, recruiting the wrong people to choose those people. So but until we get to a position where we have the right people in position on and off the park to get the right people on the park, we're just going to go through this cycle again and again and again. And it feels like me and you, Doug, have done these sort of podcasts all too often across the last 12 months. And it's I don't know where we have to go to next Saturday and we've got back-to-back home games and try and somehow get 6 points out of the 2 home games, and then take it forward for there. But that today, I think constantly, I know what Danny Röhl's trying to do, and that he's trying to change and he's trying to get something that's going to work. But I don't think the constant change is actually helping. I'm not saying like pick those 11 players and you play those 11 players for the next 10 games, but I think we're trying different formations. I just think he's been in the door I don't know how many, couple of months now, and I still don't think he probably knows what his best 11 is, because he's searching for it. I think he knows that probably the bulk of that 11 aren't good enough, and he would happily replace the vast majority of them. But that's not going to happen in January, and you're just going to have to. I still say if we could get a stronger spine. Scotty's probably watching this laughing, and I've been talking about this for long and weary. If you could bring in a dominant centre half to play alongside Big Sterling, get somebody in the middle of the park that's got physicality but can play and is got a bit about them, and you get somebody at the top end of the pitch that can create and score goals, then the other players might actually be helped by having better round about them. But that's blue sky thinking, and looking at the comments, Hearts will win the league, Motherwell will finish second. I mean, is it Motherwell we play next Saturday? Oof. They're going to smell blood as well. They're a decent side, so it's not going to get any easier for Danny Röhl and this squad. But they're going to have to show a character and a belief that they haven't done anywhere near often enough. But we've come away with a 2-1 when it could have, all intents, it could have ended up 4-5-1, and that wouldn't have flattered us at all.
No, not at all. As I say, in addition to the players, I thought the Hearts were tactically spot on. Like you say, they just sort of sat in the second half and let us come onto them, hit us on the counter excellently a few times. There's one chance they had with one of the midfielders broke out, and he was literally just all on his own in the box. And if Braga had put his head up and found him, he'd have probably had a tap in as well.
Doug, can I jump in? There's just one of the comments here that's talking about Nico Raskin being played in the wrong position. What is his position then? He plays number 6 for Belgium, and he passes the ball 5 yards to Kevin De Bruyne and Yuri Tielemans. That's Nico Raskin's job for the Belgian national team. He thinks he's a number 6. Neil McCann, Barry Ferguson spoke about it last season, where they managed to get something out of him as an 8. I don't know whether he's a 6 or an 8, but I just know that Raskins know what we need to be successful in Scottish football and in the Scottish League. And that's not to say he's not got his ability, but it's just know what we need in the Rangers team at the moment. So I just think you could throw stuff at pretty much every player, but we need to improve every single position in our team. And the Raskin was the second half playing in between the two centre halves. It took me back to John Lundstrom when John Lundstrom used to do that, and it frustrated the life out of me then, and it still frustrates the life out of me. And if I was at one of the two centre halves, I'd be telling them to get into the middle of the park, do your job in the middle of the park. I'll pass the ball to you. Don't drop in. So I don't know if he's following instruction, but this has been something that's happened across. Connor Barron's done it. We've done it under Michael Beale. We've done it under Philip Clement. We've done it under Barry Ferguson. It's just a continual situation in the way that we play. When we're already short in the middle of the park, your number 6 dropping in there isn't. It's just something I hate to see. But I'm going off on one a wee bit. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, for me, it's a definitive tactical thing that, particularly with, because we were very narrow up top, and so when you've got that midfielder drop in, obviously your centre backs are then splitting, moving wide, and then that allows your full backs to push up. And so the idea is, I think, whoever that person is, it's dropping. At one point, we even had there was one instance, because I had to actually double take, because it was Mikey Moore was the one that was dropping in, and he was meant to be playing like as a supported striker. And the person that picks up that ball should take it forward, and then ideally is then looking to set out or set off one of your fullbacks or wingers if you've got them with the pass. And I think the big problem that we have is that since Davis, we haven't had a player good enough to play those passes. The only person that we have that can play those passes is Tavernier, but obviously he will more often than not be the right fullback. So he's pushing up. So we don't have someone that can play those types of passes. And so you then end up, like you say, that person ends up just coming forward with the ball. But then you've only got the 2 guys in midfield, and they can just get easily swamped, and so you end up having to then just go about the houses. The fullbacks end up dropping again, and we end up just moving the ball and not getting anywhere. So again, I think it's the tactic itself is sound, but I just don't think we've got good enough players right now in key positions. And again, it is that spine, those key areas that we just don't have the quality to make the things we want to happen. So yeah, as I say, hopefully that can get addressed in January. I'm trying to think of some positives to take out of the game so that we can end on something better.
The only positive is that it only ended up 2-1.
It was only
that is the only positive. That's all you can take from it. You still get the square root of no points. But and I admire Scott B 190's positivity. If we win the game in hand, it's only 9 points behind, and I am a glass half full type of person, but it's I admire your positivity. But it's I look forward to hearing what the manager's got to say. But I don't imagine he generally doesn't sugarcoat it and try to tell us that we'll watch something that we haven't. But big home game, 2 big home games coming up. We just have to somehow try to get. Sorry, I'm laughing at Nuji's comment about 6-0. I thought my 2-2 was. I thought there was a possibility when it was 2-0. I thought Scott Arfield's going to come on at half time and we're going to bag a couple of late equalisers. But There's not a lot to be positive about, Doug. You said right at the very start, I don't think we learned anything we didn't already know about this Rangers squad. Same failings over and over again, and if you continue to make mistakes that cut your own throat, that's what happens. And I would like to think Danny Röhl will say that we've competed well for 20-25 minutes. We were very close to scoring a goal to go ahead, but then we've lost goals very, very quickly. But we've not reacted to losing the first goal, and then the goalkeeper's had a shocker for the second goal, and then the game's done. But a Rangers team with a bit of balls about it, a Rangers team with Barry Ferguson or somebody of that ilk in the middle of the park that would grab it by the scruff of the neck and try to drive them forward. There was no intensity, there was no passion to our play in the second half, and we managed to get a goal through just a big punt up the park, and their defenders sleeping, and Big Shermiti sticks it away. But I
will give him his due, because he was busting the gut to get to that, and that was one of the small good bits of, well, not so much a good bit of play, but he busted the gut to get in there. Like you say, the defender isn't paying attention, so I'll give him a little bit of credit for that. He doesn't get much credit, so that's a mini positive.
I think we're all frustrated, and I think it's about. I've seen a suggestion there: replace him with Lewis Ferguson. Lewis Ferguson's going to leave Serie A top four, Champions League football and all that to come back to Scotland. Lewis Ferguson leaves Bologna. He'll probably be going to the English Premiership. And again, it's not just about replacing one player. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quality players are badly needed, and that's not going to happen in one summer window. But we just have to try to get as many points. As I said before the game, we need to try and get as many points as we can prior to the window opening, and hopefully we've got business that we can get done early that will come straight in and be able to have an instant impact and help the other players, because we don't need any more squad players. We need players that are going to come in and be the first name on your team sheet at centre half, centre midfield, centre forward. There's too many. We're carrying too many passengers in the starting 11 and on the bench, and that's not going to be a quick fix. Whether Danny Röhl's the manager, whether Steven Gerrard's the manager, whether me or you are the manager, but if you could sign the right 3 or 4 or 5 across the next couple of windows that makes you stronger, then you can try to build for that. But it's it is what it is. So we'll just have to dust ourselves down, try and go over it, be frustrated, enjoy Christmas, and go to Ibrox next Saturday and hopefully see 3 points. Because anything other than 3 points, and it just gets grimmer and grimmer and grimmer, and the next 2 or 3 games are not going to be easy at all.
Nope, absolutely not. How did you feel Sterling got on today? I thought, other than a couple of overall defensive issues, I thought he was pretty decent. One of the maybe 1 or 2 that can potentially have gotten pass marks overall today. I thought those times he covered well, and he was fairly dominant on the ball when he got it. And overall, as I say, apart from some of the overall defensive things, I thought it's another good showing from him.
I remember Dujon not long after he signed, he said that I'm a defender first and foremost. And, what I would do for 4 of them, to be honest, just 4 guys that can defend. But I thought he's been out for 6-7 months, and I think he's came in and done okay. He obviously went off again today, but they'll be trying to manage. They're probably looking at it and saying that we don't want to take any chances that he pulls a calf or something like that. But Dujon Sterling, if he can stay fit, well, I've said that about a few players over the years, but Dujon Sterling has got, I think, the mentality. He's got the balls. He's got the physicality, he's got the recovery speed, all that sort of stuff. He's the type of player that, whether it's Danny Rule that's the manager or not, he's the type of player that you would want in your starting 11 and in your squad and part of your dressing room and part of your leadership group, because he doesn't sugarcoat it. I remember him many months ago under Philip Clement. He just basically called what that Rangers performance was as what it was. But I'm not going to repeat what he said. But Dujon Sterling's the type of player I would love to see him play consistently for the next 5 months. That's the problem for Dujon. But he's the type of player that we just need to get better players round about him, and that's the.
Yep.
There is some players that are actually all right, but there's just no enough all right players, and there's just no enough really good players, and there isn't any really good players, to be honest. But it's Big Dujon, another 80 minutes under his belt, and there's so many things we could sit here and talk and pick holes on Tav, and you could pick holes in this player and that player. We've not got a perfect player anywhere. There's none of them are good enough, and we don't have enough good players, and that is exactly what William says. This is years and years of signing the wrong players and having no knowledge for what's required to be successful in Scottish football. And that has to whoever comes in as sporting director, comes in as recruitment, Stig Inge Bjornaby's obviously involved, all that sort of stuff. If they're not looking at what you need to win the bread and butter games and to compete, but you need it here as well. And the manager spoke about it as well. See, if you can't tell, you could maybe tell by having a conversation that somebody's got a bit about them. But until they cross the white line and actually go onto the pitch, you don't know. But we're clutching at straws here. Bring Cortez and Ben Davis back.
I was about to say that's how we know how bad it's gotten, because when you're getting a comment like that,
I don't know. Cifuentes, bring Cifuentes back, middle of the park. He's was he playing Vancouver or something at the Toronto or somewhere at the moment? I hope it's cold, but it's just pretty grim, Doug. We're just. I feel like I've said a lot of what I've said in the last 42 minutes on far too many occasions, and I fear that I'll be saying it again many times across the next few months, because this isn't going to be a quick fix. But we should start to see improvements when he manages to get 3 or 4 players in January. Otherwise, it's going to be a long old run until the end of the season, and Rangers sending me season ticket renewal and asking for 800 quid again.
Absolutely. January cannot come quick enough. I think we've pretty much covered everything. As I say, we could probably have picked an old post-match and just replayed it, but that's where we are. But as you say, on to the next games. We've got big games coming up over the December and Christmas period. As Cammy said earlier, our next game is against Motherwell on Saturday, so we've got that to move on to. I will cede the last bit to our normally very nice half Rangers, half Hearts fan, Shankland T96, who is obviously enjoying his day. And I'll not ban you for that, mate, seeing as you're normally pretty level-headed when you're watching, so that's fine. But yeah, if it's not going to be us, then it better be you, because it's better than it being them, and that's the point we'll leave it on.
Listen, Doug, Hearts deserve credit for what they've achieved in the first 4 months of the season. Nobody's, Hearts didn't have to play well today to win. That tells you how bad Rangers were. That was not a 9 out of 10 Hearts performance, but they done what they had to do. They were clinical with the chances that they had. Well, they were clinical in the first half. They should have scored 3 or 4 more in the second half, but Hearts did not have to play well. And I think that for Hearts fans, that would be a positive for me. But what they need to do is back it up by winning the derby. There's no any point in that's them won 4 games against Rangers and Celtic. If they can't go and beat Hibs, that's the, I know that I care about Hearts, but every credit to them. Let them enjoy their night and top of the league on Christmas Day. We'll just have to wait and see whether they end the season there.
Yep, I believe during the commentary they said that's the first time since '85 that a team has beaten the Old Firm 4 times. No coincidence that was also the last time someone that wasn't the Old Firm won the league as well. So it's all looking good for them, unfortunately. So well done to them. But yes, as I say, we just need to keep soldiering on, try and get all the points we can, do what we can, get to January, get some new players in to bolster the team. First team players, please, Rangers. No squad players that will make us better and make us better immediately. But we'll leave you guys to now. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evening as much as you can. We do have a members only show on tonight if you are a member, so you can tune into that. We're talking about the Perfect Ranger. Thank you to our sponsor, the Bluebells Bar at Puerto del Carmen in Lanzarote. If you're down in Lanzarote, then do give them a shout and tell them that the Rangers Journal sent you. They show all the Rangers games. You can enjoy a nice drink there, whether it's in the shade or you prefer to be out in the sun. Quiet nights or more party nights, they've got you covered for whatever you're showing. We'll be back next week. We've still got shows coming out next week over the Christmas period. We may do a couple of film stuff as well, as we'll obviously be spending time with our families and that over the Christmas time as well. But the journal will still be about, so keep an eye out for that. If you want to get notifications for when we go live, then hit the notification button, that subscribe button, and all the stuff that we put out over Christmas will get popped out to you. So just say thanks to Cammy for doing the autopsy with me.
Aye, I'd love to say it's been a pleasure, but when's the next away game? I'm sure it'll be me and you that'll be dug out for the Old Firm game, pre and post match. But I just thanks everybody for watching, everybody for continuing to help support the Rangers Journal. The growth across the last 18 months to 2 years has been phenomenal, and just have a happy and healthy Christmas with your family, and I'll see you all again soon.
Absolutely perfect way to end it. Speak to you later, guys. Remember that every night it's a Rangers Journal night. Bye.
Every night is the Rangers Journal night.